we all need to hear?
Well, we talked about the story earlier, and sometimes we hit on stories that get a ton of feedback from our viewers. This is one of them. We talked about this
quote-unquote humanitarian group that's helping them get to the border. They should be prosecuted here in the United States. So there's a lot of things that are going on. But when they come to the United States, when they cross the border illegally, the reason that they openly do it is because they know that the catch and release program continues today. When we catch them, we'll arrest them, we'll take them into custody, we'll take them back to our stations, we'll process them, and we'll set them up for deportation proceedings. But they'll never see those deportation proceedings, because what happens is we'll transfer them over to the custody of the Immigration Customs Enforcement, which is ICE. They'll then process them, and they'll release them with a notice to appear, in which they're supposed to present themselves before an immigration judge about 2 years from now, but they never show up for their deportation proceedings.
Wait a minute, Brandon. So I think what most people watching the story are thinking is, why can't you just stop them from entering in the first place? Because it's against the law.
Because once they enter the country, so even if we're standing at the border with our hands out saying don't enter, all they have to do is cross 1 foot into the border, and we have to then take them into custody. And if they ask for asylum, or if they say, I fear to go back to my country, then we have to process them under that quote-unquote credible fear, which then allows them to be released into our country. And what's funny about this is President Obama used to say, well, they're hiding in the shadows. Well, all we're doing is going to release about 1,200 people that are then going to go hide in the shadows again. They're going to wait for an immigration reform, and they're going to create havoc and chaos. I mean, how many times do we have to hear stories of United States citizens being killed by people that are here illegally before we actually do something?
Right. It strikes me as a convoluted and very long process. Brennan, very briefly, how should this change to bring security to this country?
Well, there's a couple things that we have to do. We have to change the law. Our legislators actually have to stand up, and the Republicans control the House and the Senate. They do not need the Democrats' support to pass any laws that they want. They can go the nuclear option, just like what they did on the confirmations. They need to pass laws to end the catch and release program that will allow us to hold them for a long time. They need to create more bed space for ICE to hold these individuals. And frankly, we have to follow through on President Trump's rhetoric. The Border Patrol in 2017, we saw these huge drops, and the Border Patrol agents, they affectionately call it the Trump effect. Well, that Trump effect is now gone because the agencies and the Obama holdovers, they haven't followed through on his vision.
We'll follow this march closely. Brandon Judd, a really great perspective
Very important
on this incredibly important issue.
Thank you for the work you do, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon.